And we're live. Welcome to another Facebook Live edition. Tonight, I'm going to touch upon a very realistic subject. I made a poll asking all of you, what topic should we discuss tonight? And I gave two choices. One is gratitude, and the other topic was dealing with family tensions. Now, I didn't know which one of these topics would be the one that you will select, even though I had a feeling, but the majority of the votes came for the topic of dealing with family tensions. So it looks like a lot of different people, different ages, are struggling with how to deal with family tensions, situations related to family, whether it's a disagreement between a husband and wife, whether it's a disagreement with your in-laws, your sister-in-laws, your children. So there are different types of family tensions, different types of situations. I'm sure every single one of you who's watching can also relate to some of that. That's why it's a very relatable topic. And Zalman, for some reason, it's like, I don't know why, if the viewers see it or not, but something is shaking in the back. I'm not sure if you're seeing the same thing I'm seeing, but on my end of the camera, the phone is kind of twitching. Let me see if I can maybe fix the angle. It's a little better. Oh, is that the air conditioner? Is the air conditioner there on? It could be the air conditioner. Okay, hold on one second while we try to fix the situation, because when I look and there's something distracting me, it makes it very hard for me to concentrate. And when you're on Facebook Live, you got to get your concentration on. You know, things are not, you can't edit something once you say it, so it's very important that we get this resolved. I'm going to ask you all to please let me know if you're able to hear me properly, if you're able to see me properly, and also to please share this live with others so that they are aware that I am live, because I want to hear your comments and your feedbacks while I'm live. If I hear it later or I see it later, it's very difficult because I don't always get to read and answer you if you have a certain question. That's why please share this live with anybody else that would benefit, so that they can join us while we are live. Thank you so much, Olga. How are you? Thank you for letting me know that you can hear me and see me well. Okay, very good. So tonight, I have two questions that were asked by the followers on Facebook and Instagram. Both of these questions are actually pretty deep, okay? I want to ask you for your opinions first, and then I'm going to tell you my thoughts on what I think about these questions, because these are pretty intense, pretty deep. I will not tell you that I know exactly how to answer it. I am not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a marriage counselor. I am just a human being like all of you. I do work in healthcare. I see different types of diseases and situations and mental conditions. Yes, that I do. However, I'm not telling you any of tonight's opinions based on me treating someone, okay? This is strictly my views. So if you don't agree with what I'm going to say or how I'm going to answer the question, do not get upset. I'm sure many of you will do something differently or think a different way. Experiences you may have taught you that maybe this is the way to go, and I may have had different experiences. So keep that in mind. The reason I'm answering these questions tonight is because these questions were posed to me. The followers that wrote, they specifically said, I want to hear your opinion. So if they are asking me for my opinion, therefore I am sharing my opinion. This is just a disclaimer because these are questions that can really touch someone the wrong way. You know, when you go on Facebook and you're exposed to hundreds and thousands of viewers, you're bound to touch a nerve with certain things you say, especially when it's an opinion-based question. So I have to always make that disclaimer. Don't get upset at me. I am not a perfect person by any means. This is strictly a conversation to show everybody who's watching, by the way, you are not the only one dealing with certain situations. There are many people who are also dealing with it. And it is also not meant to break any families, okay? So don't misunderstand anything I say and let it be, God forbid, a reason to break a relationship or a reason to make a fight. This is not what this is about. Okay, so let's go to the first question first. I'm going to deal with this question first, and then I'm going to talk about the second one. Please follow along. Like I said, I hope that you can hear me and see me well. And whoever's joining, welcome. Let your friends know that we're live. We're going to begin with the first question. The first question goes as follows. Hi, Yocheved. I would like to know if you can possibly address an issue that I have been having on your next live. The question is as follows. How do you deal with hatred when it's coming from your family? Do you ignore and put a smile for the sake of the family, the husband side? Or are you not obligated to tolerate this person even for your husband? If one cannot control their anxiety and stress because they are surrounded by these people, they feel a certain energy radiating from that person. They feel jealousy, annoyance, their tone and actions towards that individual. And trust me, I have tried to talk it out, and there was no use with this person. This person will not admit that they are wrong, and I mean completely be ignorant, and has started fights in the past. How are you supposed to overcome this and still maintain a peace in the home? Are you still obligated to invite them over to your house for birthday gatherings, holidays, etc.? Where do you draw the line? I need some clearance on the subject. This is becoming a health issue. It's a pretty deep question, and I have to say, for the person who wrote this, I'm sure you're going to be watching it at some point. The first thing I'm going to tell you is I feel for you. I'm really sorry that you are going through this. And I can tell you from my own personal experience, in some ways, I can relate to your pain. And because in some ways I can relate to your pain, and this hits so close to home in some ways, I can tell you from personal experience, I understand that in some situations we cannot help ourselves because we do start feeling anxiety over situations. So you're not alone and you're not crazy, because sometimes we really feel that maybe something is wrong with me. Maybe I'm overreacting. Maybe it's not the other person. Maybe it's me. Those are all real feelings. So to the person who wrote this, I will tell you, there are so many people that can relate to your concern. Now, because I understand it so much myself, I can only tell you through experience what has helped me personally. Now, I don't know your personal situation. I don't know the personal story. I don't know which family member you're talking about. This is all speculations. I don't have information. But if I was to talk about it generally, in a very generalized form, this is what I've learned over the years myself. There's a couple of things I have learned. Number one, are we, and I'm going to start with we first, because when we're dealing with any situation, you really need to look at yourself first, because you really cannot change anybody but yourself. The first question I would ask myself is, am I overreacting to this person? Whoever it is that you're talking about, or whoever it is that we're dealing with, am I overreacting? Is it really my sensitivity? Am I very sensitive to this person? Is there anything that I possibly am doing by accident which can be triggering me not to be liked by that other person? Am I making this person intimidated by me by accident? So there are many things that may be causing this tension in your relationship. So the first thing I would do is look at it from, what is my perspective in this situation? How am I able to fix myself? Can it be a problem with me? Now, that is not to say that we need to have self-persecution and now start finding every reason possible to blame ourselves. This is not the reason. This is just to say that sometimes by accident, we are at fault where we can overreact to things the person didn't even mean to hurt us. We are too sensitive. We may have come across by accident. We acted maybe a little bit not humble. We were acting a little bit too egotistic, or maybe the way we sounded, our tone of voice, or our facial expression. We don't realize sometimes that we can do certain things that can cause other people to want to have that distance and to want to kind of like, they want to stay away from us, and this tension develops. So that's the first part of how I would answer you, to say, look at it first from the perspective of, is there anything I could do that potentially can really fix this problem without me putting and pointing a finger on somebody else? The second part to this question, which makes it very difficult, and I'm going to tell you, this is the part that is probably going to be the hardest, and many people have a hard time accepting it. The hardest part of it is, you mentioned the key word there, and the key word is family. Now, if this was a friend, a neighbor, a coworker, somebody on the job, somebody on the bus, somebody in a grocery store, I would tell you, listen, don't even spend, an ounce of frustration. Like, move on. It's not worth it. Even if you have to find a different job, even if you have to travel further to go to a different store. I mean, the answer would be so simple as to say, of course, none of this. Like, why are you even putting thought into this? What is this? Why are you wasting time with this? But whenever it's a family that is involved, now we're dealing with a much bigger picture, a bigger dynamic is involved. Now, this relationship situation is no longer just me and the other person and how I feel, and the other person, how he makes me feel. Now it's me, my husband, my children, my in-laws, my parents, immediate family and relatives. It starts to affect by accident not only you and this other person, it starts to affect your family. It starts to cause a lot of tension between you and your husband. A lot of days are spent fighting, arguing, being unhappy, crying in your room, feeling so lonely. Those are all real. And you know who struggles? The children are struggling, watching this situation unfold and not knowing which way to go. So because it's family, we have to just take things a little bit with a different twist. Now, not to say that we're allowed to let people bully us, make us feel unworthy, make us feel sick and anxious and nervous. It doesn't mean that just because somebody's family, we're allowed to tolerate certain things and be okay with certain things. Absolutely not. That's not to say that you're supposed to be mistreated or supposed to get sick because the person is related to you. That's not what it means. What it means is it's easy to shut people off. It's very easy to press the block button and never ever deal with this person again, never sit with this person again on the same table. That is probably going to be the easiest way to go about it. But if you're writing to me, I sense that there's a part of you that still cares. You do care about what this means for your family, and you also care about yourself. Over the years, and it took me many years, I personally have realized I spent too much time and energy into people that might not have necessarily benefited or wanted to be a part of my life. Now, that's not to say that I have to block them out of my life, and that's not to say that I never have to talk to them again and I have to completely remove them and never invite them again. It's to say that I spent too much time and energy trying to run and chase a relationship that was never going to be that 100% of what I thought I was looking for. And I learned over the years that the best relationship sometimes is being distant. Not every relationship is meant to be so close. Having a boundary, being distant, calling each other very limited times to wish each other a happy birthday, to wish each other a mazal tov when somebody gets married or engaged, to come and say hello when you have to come to family gatherings, that is very acceptable. We don't necessarily have to be this close. It's very nice to be very close. It's very nice to be a united front. It's very nice to spend time with all family occasions and every Shabbat table together. It's a blessing. But sometimes when people are too close and there's no space and there's no distance and there's no, break from one another, you start to get tired and exhausted and problems are going to come up. And there are many people that want to have very close family relationships. They're yearning for that. They do anything possible to make it happen. But again, if you try too hard with a relationship with a person that doesn't want you in their life, you're going to fail time and time again. There is a saying, when people show you who they are, believe them. If somebody shows you that they're not interested in your company, they're not interested in your friendship, they're not interested in spending time with you, sharing personal news with you, don't fight your way into that relationship. Let the person be. Let them go. Not to say you're going to fight with them, but allow that peaceful boundary. Boundaries are created so that you're able to maintain peace, so that you're able to maintain a situation where you see each other and you're able to say hello to the person, you're still able to sit on the same table with this person. But when you are so close without any type of a boundary and there's no separation and there's no distance and you're at each other's throats all the time constantly, you start to feel pressure and tension and resentment. So to your question, are you obligated to invite them to every birthday party and celebration? Now think of it like this. They always taught us, at least they taught me, you don't want to take out dirty laundry. And I remember learning this growing up, and I really agree with this concept. Dirty laundry means not everyone has to know all your personal problems. It's not healthy. It's not good for other people to know. Most of the people cannot help you anyways. They're going to talk about it. They're not necessarily there to fix a situation. And it's not important for everybody to know your personal situation. So imagine you have a gathering and you invite everybody besides this one person. Do you not feel that it's going to cause a lot of speculation amongst others and to say, what happened? What's going on? What is this about? Are we supposed to live for people? No. Are we supposed to do what's good for us? Yes. Are we supposed to force ourselves and pressure ourselves to do it even when it makes us anxious? No. But the question is there a way for you to work past your anxiety? Can you start to work on yourself enough where you take a deep breath and say, why is this person making me so anxious? Am I giving this person so much power that when they're around me, they have the ability to make me have a certain mood? Maybe I'm giving this person too much power and too much validation. Maybe it's time that I say, why am I so triggered by this individual? And start working on that aspect and start realizing your self-worth. If this person is jealous of you, like you said, you think this person is jealous of you, let them be jealous of you. If this person feels annoyed by you, let them feel annoyed by you. You know who you are. This person's opinion of you doesn't define who you are. And the minute you start realizing who you are, how many people you're surrounded by that truly love you, what you're worthy of, you're going to realize this person's behavior is not going to be enough to trigger you. It's going to not allow you to start feeling to the point where you're so anxious that you're getting sick. You're going to feel annoyed. You're going to have those palpitations for a few seconds, but you're going to build yourself enough where you can see this person right next to yourself. Say hello, sit at the same table and still do what you have to do. Mind your own business. Talk with those that really care about you. Walk away when you have to walk away, but not give this person so much control and power over you. So my answer to your question is, you're not obligated to invite them to every single event. You're not obligated to get yourself sick over this person. But ask yourself, why are you allowing this person to make you feel sick? Why are you allowing this person so much power over you? Are they really worth it? It's not worth fighting with your husband. It's not worth having your children struggle in the process. You went to an occasion respectfully. You can tell your husband, I'm going for your respect. That doesn't mean that I'm going to sit for the entire event. That doesn't mean that I'm going to dance for every song that they play. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be talking to everybody there. I'm respectfully going for your sake, and then maintain your own boundaries. Have your own space. I hope I answered your question. Anybody else have thoughts on this answer? Would you have done it any other way? I would like to hear your thoughts. For those of you that are joining us now that missed the question that we asked in the beginning, I had somebody ask me a question on how to deal with a situation where she says one of my husband's family members are getting me so nervous and anxious because of the way that they are treating me. And I've tried to talk to them, but to no avail. How do I move on? Am I really obligated to have a relationship for the sake of my husband, even if it's making me sick? This was the question that we got. And now, to talk it out, I agree with you. Sometimes you can talk to people from today to tomorrow. Unfortunately, not every person has wisdom. Not every person wants to hear criticism. Sometimes when you tell people and you give them a little bit of feedback on why you feel like what they did was wrong, or you try to have a constructive conversation with them, they shut down. Some people are not able to tolerate any negativity about themselves. It comes from a sense of insecurity on their part. It comes from a sense of immaturity on their part. Some people are older people in childhood mentalities. They have not grown up. And we cannot expect to change them. We cannot expect to fix them. If we wait for them to be fixed and we think every single fight and every single argument is going to bring them closer to a resolution, we come to a point of being very disappointed because some people will never change. You know what's going to change? Our response to those people. How much power are we giving them? How much validation are we giving them? How much are we allowing them to make us feel sick over them? It's not worth it. Don't let yourself get sick. Know your worth. Know who you are, and understand that you're not meant to be for everyone. Think of it like this. Whoever is at your table, whoever has a relationship with you, that's their benefit. Whoever does not know how to accept you, that's their loss. And when you start to think of it from that perspective, when you try to do everything else possible, you cannot do anything else. Do not be at points where you have to block yourselves and be like, well, you can't even say hello to each other, because the truth is, God doesn't want us to be that way, right? It's not even like we have certain things that we want to follow, certain type of ethics and morals. We want to give an example to our children. You know, there are people that don't talk to each other for so long. They don't even go to each other's weddings, brothers, sisters, parents don't go to their sons' weddings. We don't want to ever come to this type of relationship because it's not a good example for our children. So don't let the situation escalate to such a point where by accident you're going to get there, because that will be very bad. Leave this person alone. Let this person be. Keep a distance. You see her, great. Hi, how are you? Walk away. Mind your own business. Do what you have to do. Don't act in a way where you're looking for her validation, where you're looking to please her, where you're looking to become friends with her. She already has made it clear she's not interested. And that's also okay. Peacefully move on. Now, the other point that I want to make, I have personally seen situations, okay, not related to this question, where there are situations where somebody has an argument with a mother-in-law, a daughter-in-law, a sister-in-law, whatever the situation may be, and they don't allow their children to come visit their grandparents. They don't come to certain occasions because now all of a sudden they're upset at one person in the family. So what happens as a result? Well, that person is going to be at that event, but it's not even their event. It's another person's event. Oh, I'm not coming because that person is there. You have a problem with that person. Why are you destroying the entire family? It doesn't mean the family has to be destroyed. Sometimes we have to, as adults, really grow up a little bit. Yes, it's hard. And yes, I've been there. And yes, I understand. And I'm not trying to be insensitive. Certain people trigger us. Certain people raise our blood pressures. Certain people make us feel anxious and we get sick because of them. It exists. It's real. We don't want people to have such power over us. But unfortunately, that happens 100%. But we have to understand the bigger picture. If you're not talking to one sister-in-law or one brother-in-law, now the other sister-in-law is making a wedding. You're not going to go to her wedding because she's at the wedding? What does the other sister-in-law have to do with your relationship? Why do they have to get involved? You're not going to go to this bar mitzvah because you're not talking to your mother-in-law and your mother-in-law is there? It's improper. Yes, some people probably feel like, well, this is it. That's my boundary and that's why I can't deal with it. And you know what? And I don't want to sound harsh, God forbid, and I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, but I really genuinely care enough to tell you, you need therapy. You really need therapy. If this person is really bothering you to the point where you can't even attend other people's events because that person is there, you need to go to therapy to really try to heal yourself. Not because something is wrong with you, to like you're not normal. It's just like if that person gives you so much power where you're willing to have a bad relationship with everybody else, it's not a good way to live. That you have a lot of negativity in you, and you need to heal for your own sake, for your own well-being. And you really need to go to therapy, talk it out, learn how to have power that those people can't trigger you to that degree. We can't allow people to really bother us to that degree. Okay. Anybody else? Thank you so much. I see that there are some comments. I really, really want to hear your thoughts. Lola says, very good question. I agree, Lola. It's a very good question. A lot of people can relate to this question. Thank you, Frida. She said, beautifully said. Fania, good topic and discussion. Thank you so much. So I agree. This is a very, very important topic. I was actually sitting next to someone recently, and they were dealing with the same exact situation from a different perspective. So a lot of people, projections on others isn't good. Right, Esty, I agree. Don't project your, personal dilemmas with other people for other people. It's not fair. What if, for example, you don't get along with the sister-in-laws, your mother-in-law is making an event. It's her event. You're not going to come because your sister-in-law is there. But what does your mother-in-law have to do with this, right? Again, I cannot say everything. Everybody has a personal experience. Some people really have been hurt, really have been triggered. I mean, people have real stories. The stories sometimes we hear, we think it only happens in soap operas, in Turkish movies, in Indian movies. Believe it or not, these stories happen in real life where people really have such deep, deep issues inside of their own families. And it's very sad and very unfortunate. And we all need to really try to work past those things. It's not healthy. It's not good at all. Now, the second question, I definitely would like to hear your opinion because I don't really have a way to answer this. I don't want to sound judgy. I have not been through this myself, so it will only be 100% from my opinion only. And I don't want to take sides or pin the tail on the donkey. So I really hope you guys can help me answer this next question. Esty, God doesn't put us in paths without a reason. We grow from it. So, so true, Esty. You said it so well. You really nailed it. 100% agree with you. We really grow from it. Like God puts certain people in our life and we really think he's punishing us, and why do we deserve to have this person here, and why couldn't I have a better relationship with better people, and people seem to be so happy with their family members, and I have this devil in my life. But the truth is, we all become so much more resilient, so much better. It actually it prepares us for so many more relationships in life, where we stop being fazed by people because we grow and we really become a stronger version of ourselves. Esty, you nailed it. I agree with you. All right, next question. That's going to be the final question unless somebody else asks me a question. This question actually, it kind of made me feel sad. I won't lie. I read this question. It kind of made me feel very sad, and I don't like it, and I want to try to answer it the best I can without sounding judgmental or taking sides. I tried to get more information from this person who messaged me to try to answer it to the best ability. I did not get answers, so I'm only going to read to you the statement, the question, and we're working with completely limited information. Dear Yocheved, looking for your opinion on this. Because of some health issues, I cannot travel far. My husband likes to travel. He told me last week he's going on a cruise with his friend. He traveled without me before, and it always bothered me. This time I am very upset, feeling down, and I don't know why I am feeling this way. I expressed my feelings about this trip to my husband, but it doesn't stop him from traveling. I really want to say, I want to really hear, and I hope, I know that a lot of you watching, many of you don't like to answer. I don't know why. But I hope somebody can answer and can tell me their feedback and what did they think about this particular question. How would you answer this lady if she wrote this question to you? And interesting enough, my friend Bella and I actually had a few Facebook Lives discussing this very topic. And I remember the controversy. I remember like hundreds of people tuned into that live. It was so controversial. We had Bella and I on one side, and we very strongly felt one way. And then there were people that were watching us, a few people that totally felt different. And this is a very controversial topic. It's a topic of can or should you travel without your spouse? Now, there's more to this particular question. She's not just asking, should my husband is traveling without me? Let me read the question to you again. I'm giving you time to answer so I could read your comment. The question, for those of you that are just joining, again, I will read it to you because I feel like this has so many parts to it and we're still missing a lot of parts. Because of some health issues, I cannot travel far, but my husband likes to travel. He told me last week he's going on a cruise with his friend. Okay? He traveled without me before, and it always bothered me. This time I am very upset, feeling down, and I don't know why I'm feeling this way. I expressed my feelings about this trip to my husband, but it's not stopping him from wanting to travel. Okay, thank you, Violet. Thank you for being the first one to answer. I did not want to go first because I really want to see, sometimes I have very strong thoughts and opinions, and I'm like, let me let other people go first because I don't want to sound like I'm attacking anyone by accident here, because this question really didn't sit well with me for just for personal reasons. I wasn't happy about it. And thank God, I never went through something like this, so I can't even answer it saying I can relate to it. All right, Violet. Very inappropriate that he travels without her. Couples should travel together. Would your husband be okay with you going away without him? I don't understand. I don't know how people made this normal. Vacation should always be together. Okay, that's excellent, Violet. Thank you for your opinion and thank you for your comment. Angela, such a different opinion. It is totally fine for a husband to travel without the wife. Wow. Now, I'm on Facebook Live, people. I could not have set this up, okay? This is not a setup. Two completely different opinions, okay? This is what I love about the viewers. I love the fact that there's diversity. We have difference in opinions. And you know what? Who said one is right and the other one is wrong? Every person thinks and lives their life according to their own thoughts, according to their own values, according to their own beliefs. What somebody thinks is normal, somebody else thinks is completely absurd. What somebody thinks is totally pathetic, somebody else thinks is totally inspirational. So we are living in times, we've always lived in times where everything is acceptable, and that's why the husband I choose will not be the husband she chooses, and the wife I choose will not be the wife he chooses. Why? Because my mentality and my thoughts won't align with this person. And that's why it's important. When you get married, you're supposed to talk about these things sometimes. Understand, is this okay for you? By the way, those of you who are dating, ask this question from somebody you're about to marry. What do they think about it? And then figure it out. If you are the type of person to say, I will never let you travel without me, and I'm never traveling without you, and the other person says, what do you mean? I think it's very healthy to travel without each other. We're supposed to let each other go for a few days, to kind of like loosen up and to relax. What's wrong with that? You got to figure out who you are marrying and are you compatible. So with that said, I see a few more comments. I'm actually very excited to see what other people have to say about this. Okay. So Violet continues. You are feeling down, and it's normal to feel down. When your husband doesn't respect your opinion or doesn't care that you can't travel far because of health issues. Okay, so she's on the side of this is inappropriate and the husband should not do this. Esti, let's see. She likely wants more empathy because of her health and likely isn't getting that. Very good point, right? Also, how much is he doing for her, right? Another very important point. I don't know what kind of health issues she's dealing with. I'm not sure. Does she have back pain? Does she have cancer? Does she have, diabetes? Does she have fear of traveling where she feels anxious from in unknown places? We're not sure what type of a health situation this is and how much did this husband already do for this health situation. He likely is not communicating enough to express his desire to travel and hold on, my hair always tends to get in the way. And he is likely not communicating enough to express his desire to travel and how not is also upsetting to him in some ways. Okay. So I guess you're saying that he's also upset that he wants to travel and she can't. Okay, interesting. Interesting perspective. Esther says, I'm old school. I don't know. I agree with Violet. So Esther feels like absolutely not. This man should not be traveling without his wife. Okay. Anybody else? Now Violet is writing again to Angela. Vacation is a pleasure. Don't you want to have pleasure when you are with your husband? I love being with my husband, so I don't understand. It is pleasurable, but I think to Angela's point, from what I've heard over my last couple of lives and like all this different opinions, that people find it very therapeutic to travel by themselves with their friends for a few days. They find it very relaxing. And sometimes I've even heard therapists say that there's nothing wrong with that. It's healthy. Again, this is different in opinions. My opinion may not align with theirs and doesn't mean that I'm wrong or you're wrong or she's wrong. This is really your own perspective and your thought processes, and you need to communicate that before you get married. And by the way, these things sometimes happen later in marriage too, where you thought you were okay with certain things and then something happened and you're not okay with it anymore. For example, you may have thought, I'm never going to let my husband or wife to travel without me. Years and years of marriage, maybe you needed to develop that trust. It wasn't there before. Or maybe, your children are older now, so you have the ability to allow yourself to be alone and it's not a hardship anymore. So things also happen in life which also change our perspective to things. Zalman says discuss before marriage. All right. Okay. Let's see. Anybody else answering this question? All right. So, Angela answers, I love this. It is very important for especially a husband to have time alone that's going to bring you guys together. You're going to miss each other. It doesn't always have to be together. Okay. Like I said, that's the difference in opinions that I've been hearing since this is not the first time I've addressed this topic. And people have either a very strong heart, absolutely not, or a very strong heart, absolutely yes. This is normal for me. My opinion, okay? Now, I don't want to say anything to make any problems in this marriage. So it's strictly an opinion from my thoughts, okay? This is how I view things. It doesn't mean it's going to work for this particular couple. Also, to the couple, if you're listening, I don't know the details. I don't know. Maybe the wife was always okay with it and this was never a problem and now all of a sudden it's a problem. Maybe the health issue is not new. It's been chronic. It's been very long standing. There's no cure for this particular situation. Not sure what the details are. How do I view traveling alone? I love that you're always bringing this up. Very good topic, and you're 100% right. This needs to be discussed before marriage. Thank you, Violet. How do I personally address this question? I am from the mentality, personally, okay, that traveling should be done together. Going on vacations, cruises, for example, areas where there are beaches, personally for me, I would definitely feel like should be done together with a husband and a wife. Okay? Why? Because to me, it's important to do things together as a couple. It gives you the ability to talk, to relax, to enjoy, to have some time off together, especially when you have children, when life is very chaotic and you don't have the ability to spend together. It's very important to do things together. Now, there are certain situations, for example, a business trip. On a business trip, exception to the rule sometimes, this is not something that's done by choice. Or a conference. If you work in healthcare, you go to conferences. You have to, renew your advanced learning. There's conferences. Many times, right, when I've personally been to these conferences, I was lucky enough to have my children and my husband accompany me on those conferences. We all took a hotel. We were all there together. I went on my conference. My family spent the time, together doing whatever they had to do for a few hours until I came back, and we continued doing things together. Now, again, that's to say if it's a possibility. There are situations where it's not a possibility, right? Financial situations. You don't have the money to spend on a whole family trip. The husband is not able to take off from work, right? There are restrictions. There are situations where it simply is not possible. Now, sometimes when it's not possible and it's a conference or it's a business related situation, you're going out to do something that needs your attention specifically out of state, out of country, there are exceptions to every rule. Absolutely. And at that point, between a husband and wife, sometimes we have to, change our thought processes and see what can we do to settle this issue. That's one point. And if the husband is going and the wife already communicated to him, right? She already told him, I am not okay with this. I'm upset about it. It's making me feel a certain way. This is the issue that I have. That's where it becomes a tricky situation for me personally. And she's stating she has health issues. Maybe she feels that she needs the extra support for her husband, whether it's physically, I don't know what the health issue is, emotionally, maybe she's going through a mental health issue, and emotionally, she's afraid, she gets anxiety, she wakes up at night and she's panicking, whatever the situation is, she's afraid to be home alone right now. That is the time that she doesn't want her husband to go. Maybe she was always okay with it, and now more than ever, she's not okay. Now, I don't want to touch upon a topic that is going to be very sensitive, okay, because I know this is going to open a can of worms, but I like to keep it real, okay? I don't like to sugarcoat. There are also situations, and this is not in this case, I don't know these people, not related to this case, but there are situations, and then people are going to come at me and say, well, people can do this everywhere. There are situations that people go travel by themselves, and the husband or the wife are not comfortable with it because they feel maybe there are sexual problems that happen there. What if something sexual happens, right? Well, why do we think that way? People will come and say, well, this can happen anywhere. Whoever's looking for this is going to have it even here. 100% agree. 100,000% agree. It can happen anywhere. But we also have to understand, if the wife, there are wives like that. Let's be real. If she is insecure, okay, or she doesn't like the friend, or she doesn't trust the friend, it's not necessarily she doesn't trust the husband. She could trust the husband. She can very well be okay with him going with his mother, his father, his brother, his cousin. She may not have a problem with that. She may specifically have a problem, okay, with this husband specifically going with a friend. Maybe she's not happy about that specific friend. Maybe that friend is single. Maybe that friend has caused trouble before. Maybe she knows that friend is not a good influence on her husband. And she may not be comfortable to trust her husband. Now, see, we don't want to live a life And it's not good to accuse our husband or accuse our wife and say, oh, you did this and you did that. It's not good to live like that. Like, you have to have trust. Trust is very important. It's a foundation of marriage. But at the same time, why would you give your spouse a reason not to trust you? If your spouse is already not okay with you traveling by yourself, they're expressing that to you. I have that issue. I have insecurities. I'm not okay. I don't want to have any issues in the future where I might by accident formulate those thoughts about you. It never happened. But that, that devil will kick in and put all this kind of stupidity in your head. Don't give me those reasons. Don't put me in a position where I'm going to by accident speculate that about you. Why? Why are we doing things that are going to cause us to have a relationship problem that we're digging ourselves a problem by accident? Now let's go to the other side. I don't know this situation personally. I don't know anything about this situation. Maybe this husband has had communications with his wife. Maybe he's given her tries. Maybe he's bought her tickets. Maybe he's tried not to go on vacation thinking it's going to help her deal with her health situation. We don't know what it is. And it was to no avail. Maybe he's the one getting sick right now and he needs to take care of his health and he needs to do something before he starts to get so sick and he sees it coming and he must go on a days of vacation because if he doesn't, he's going to get sick himself. That is also a possibility. So that's why I'm saying, without really knowing all the details to this question, we cannot take sides. But if we're going to generalize this concept, some people are okay with it and some people are not. I come from the mentality of, I'm not okay with it. I'm not okay with it. However, after 20 years of marriage, recently my husband tells me, oh, I want to go to Uzbekistan. And he really wants to go to Uzbekistan. Now, I come from a mentality of, we travel together, where you go, I go, we're not separating. I couldn't even believe myself when my husband was even more shocked than me when I told him, listen, I cannot go. I really cannot take off from work. I don't have that much vacation time. Go ahead, go, book it. First of all, I know he's going with a certain group. Okay, I felt comfortable with that. You hear me? Second of all, we also grow sometimes in life, right? Our trust changes, our self-esteem. We start not to pick on certain things. Now, again, I'm telling you from my personal experience, sometimes our thoughts change. Situations in life change. Now, he wants to go, let's say, in my case, to Uzbekistan. Now, if my husband told me, in my case, again, I'm going on a cruise, or I'm going to Vegas by myself, or I'm going to, I don't know, an island, a Caribbean by myself with a friend, maybe I wouldn't say, yeah, go, sure. I would probably be like, no, absolutely not. Oh, that doesn't make me a bad wife, and that doesn't make him a bad husband if he said the same thing to me. It's a form of mutual understanding, a mutual relationship. Not everything in marriage is something we're happy about and we're comfortable about, and that's why we sacrifice. We sacrifice sometimes for the sake of family peace, for the sake of having shalom bayit, for the sake of understanding. We sometimes have to sacrifice. Now the question is, how much do we sacrifice, right? Some people are going to say, you know what, I sacrificed all my life and now I'm 75 years old and I am miserable. That also happens. So when you are in this situation, for whoever wrote this to me, I feel for you. If you're feeling sick and it's really, really, really getting to you, it may be really time for you to go together to a marriage counselor, to a therapist, to somebody, a rabbi, or somebody that you trust, and really both of you sit down and have an open conversation and have an open dialogue. Let somebody come in the middle that can hear his perspective. I'm sure he's not doing this because he wants to hurt you, or he wants to do something against you, or he doesn't love you anymore. I don't know him. I don't know your story, but I would assume, I would hope he's not doing it on purpose. And for you also, I'm sure you want him to have a good time and you want to be able to join him on this trip, and you're limited. You can't. Your body's not permitting. And I don't want you to be sad and upset. I really feel for you and I pray for you. And I would say I totally understand you. I would also not be okay with it, and I really hope and pray that when your husband does go on this trip. Like I said, it may be because he himself is going through a health situation and he must go. I hope he's able to video you from there, talk to you a lot, have conversations with you, make you a part of his trip so that you feel that he didn't forget about you. He loves you. He wants you to be there with him all the time. So I hope that when he does go, he really shows you that he did not do it in spite to hurt you. This was not his intentions, and I really don't think it is. And I really hope both of you are going to find mutual understanding. So I see a few more comments. Let's read them because this is a very interesting question. I hope I answered it properly. All right. Okay, hold on. It's hot. Angela, but not to say about the woman. I only going to go without my husband just for a family emergency or family event that my husband cannot go, then I will go. So I'm not sure what you meant by that. I think you're saying that sometimes there's family emergencies and you have to attend? Yes, that would be another reason. If God forbid, there's a situation where somebody's sick and it's an emergency and you have to travel, that is also a situation where, things happen. Thank you, Violet. She says, I love your energy and positive view on this. The way you put it together is perfect. I love it. Thank you so much. I'm trying, I really, it's hard to answer these questions without, God forbid, hurting someone or being insensitive, especially when you don't know. So many factors are missing. It's just a question. There's no answers here. Esty says, don't be blind to his needs. He may not be able to or willing to share because they are too concerned for your health. It would do him good to see a therapist to learn how to communicate with such individuals. Yes, that's what I was saying. Sometimes it happens to be that we don't know how long this health issue is going on. Maybe she's been sick for a very long time, and it's difficult. It's difficult. But the truth is as follows. Personally, there was a situation that I know that the husband or wife got very sick. And I can't imagine, I know it's very hard and I don't want to sound insensitive, but I can't imagine leaving a sick person by themselves. Maybe what bothers me a little bit about this particular situation is maybe go to a different type of trip, somewhere by plane or by car. Can you go somewhere together that's close by so both of you are able to enjoy it? A cruise sounds a little bit, I don't know, it just sounds like, what if there is an emergency and you have to fly back and you're not able to? You're stranded in the middle of a cruise. So that's, to me personally, I feel like that's where it may be a little bit too much. But then again, we don't know all the details. This may be something that was discussed in advance, and they've spoken about it a long time, and there was an agreement, and then the agreement changed, and the tickets were already bought. So a lot can be factored in that we don't know. Angela, my husband went to Turkey without me to do his teeth, and I gave him the go-ahead to go. But when he came back, I totally missed him, and he missed me, and that was love again. That's excellent. Again, both of you were okay with it. It was on mutual agreement, and that's what we're saying. If something is on mutual agreement, and both of you say, go ahead, I have no problem with it, there is no problem with it, okay? It's fine. But if one of you is totally having a problem with it, now let's talk about, well, she has insecurities and she needs to give him space. We can say all this stuff. But it exists. Yes, she has insecurities. For example, I'm saying, yes, she needs to give him space. Yes, this, yes, that. Fill in the blank. But she's still the woman he married, or he's still the man she married. Now, given, okay, to be fair, when we're married for many years, people change. Their personalities change. Their behaviors change. Their attitudes change. And sometimes it's not so easy to deal with them, okay? They're not as patient as they used to be. They're not as understanding as they used to be. And that sometimes complicates things. You cannot have a normal conversation with each other. And there's no more giving in. People feel fed up. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not your child. I'm a grown person. And that's when we really start to think maybe this marriage is really sinking and we need intervention. Intervention needs to come in before we have issues that are going to be irreversible. And that's a problem. Some people need their own space. Esti, I agree. Some people need their own space. I very much agree. So your own space. Go for dinner with your friends. Go to a basketball with your friends, right? That's your own space. You have 3 hours of downtime. Okay, fine. Go. Go for a retreat. You go on Birthright, or you go on, for example, a Shabbaton together, right? Like a Shabbos or a spiritual event or some healing event. Again, I'm not here to tell anybody where to go or what to do. I just feel like if this woman is writing from a place of, I am hurt, I'm getting sick over it, it's not sitting well with me, it's no longer a mutual consensus. And giving him space at this point this is too much of a space, right? 2 days, 1 day, maybe all the space you need. When you really need, also, I don't know, maybe I am a little old school. I don't see the need of having a 7-day trip. If I need that much space from my husband, a 7-day trip from my husband, I don't know. I really would think like, why do I need a 7-day trip away from my husband? Not sure how to answer that. Isn't marriage all about understanding each other and being able to and be each other's everything, to support each other and be each other's best friend? Exactly. That's what marriage is supposed to be. A united front. It's like you take the vows, you say, till death do us part. So I know people that they had a very good life and all of a sudden the husband or the wife got very sick. Like, I really know people like that. The family member got very, very sick. We're talking about health issues, like mental health issues, very anxious, very depressed, impossible to deal with. And the poor husband, I have never ever seen him leave her side. Never. And again, how much can you sacrifice, right? And then the husband himself got sick at the end. These things happen. It's life. It's very unfortunate. But when you see this type of a relationship and you see the love and they always come to the appointments together, and he never leaves her side, she never leaves his side, and there's so much unity, and they're there for each other even when they themselves have so much of their own health issues. It's just, this is what I look up to, and I say, wow, this is so hard to achieve. And this is what marriage is. Marriage is a united front. It's really two people saying, I will be there for you no matter what. And if we're not there for each other during the hardest days, not judging this guy, I don't know what the situation is, but in general, if we're not there for each other, our husband gets sick or our wife gets sick, and now all of a sudden it's an inconvenience, it's too hard, it's a burden for us to take care of them. It's so annoying because now we can't go out and we can't party. What kind of life is this? I don't want to deal with this. I get it. It's hard to deal with this. We want to have a happy life. We want to go out. We want to party. We don't want life to bring us to this point. But it happens. And you don't leave your loved ones stranded when things are not the way they used to be, especially health issues. It's nobody's fault. It can happen to anybody. Anyone can get sick. Hi, Rachel. Thank you so much. God bless you as well. So this is the 2 questions that I got. I think we discussed them in depth. We actually had a very long discussion. And I appreciate you for trusting me with your questions. And it's just not judging, but sounds pretty controlling. Can't use health as a reason to tie people. Listen, again, Esti, that's your opinion as well, and that's my opinion as well, and I love that you share your opinions. If some people will tie others for a health issue, for some people it will be he's tying me, and for some other people they're going to view it as, no, he's my husband, he's there for me. And if you look at it from a perspective of, why should I be tied up? Or you can look at it from a perspective of course I have to be there. What kind of tied up? This is my wife. This is my husband. This is my everything. And there's no other priority for me in the world than to make sure that I am there when my husband or my wife is not well. And I know people like that again, that were having cancers and were in their worst physical battles. I mean, we're talking about weight loss, falling because of how dizzy they were. Their blood pressures were falling, not eating, going through severe chemotherapy. And the wife was struggling. It was hard to deal with such a husband, very hard. She could have easily given up on her husband at that point, easily, because it was so hard to deal with such a husband, constantly throwing up and vomiting because he couldn't tolerate food, couldn't go to work, was no longer able to earn an income. And this poor wife had everything on her shoulders, from working to bringing the heavy shopping to traveling by herself. Should she have thought to herself, well, why should I be tied up to him? What is this? No, it's the duty. These things happen to everyone, and nobody's to say that it won't happen to you or me or anybody else. And I am not from that mentality. I don't think that that's the way, personally. I wouldn't think like that. Angela says, it's like you have a sick child and you would give up your child or have him committed to a mental health institution and say you cannot deal with him. That's ridiculous. So yeah, maybe that is a good example, right? It's like, and again, I don't want to judge people. Like when we have a sick child or a sick family member, and sometimes it is overwhelming for us, and we do take them to, rehab and nursing homes, and we just say, I can't deal with you anymore. There you go. Goodbye. I can't. Sometimes it happens. We really can't. We're not equipped medically for it, right? I'm in healthcare. I see. We're not equipped. But then there are times that people just use that as an excuse. Oh, it's too hard for me to take care of my husband or wife or my parent. Let me throw him into a nursing home. I can't be tied up or bothered by him, right? For example. So at what point then life is only good until fill in the blank? And you're only for me and I'm only for you until we earn a certain amount of money. You bring me certain things that I want. You buy me gifts. You take me on vacations. But he loses his job. He can't provide anymore. He's not able to do any of those fill in the blanks A, B, C, D. So then what's the drive? Why should I stay married to you? To me, it feels very similar to that category. We have ups in life. We have downs in life. There are times to go on vacation. There are times to party. There are times to sit home and really take a step back and say, God, this is not the time. I'm going to pray that better days to come so that we can do it together. And maybe we won't be doing it together for a very long time to come. And we'll have to choose other types of ways to find leisure and relaxation. So that is the conversation. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. You ladies rock tonight. Thank you so much for helping me. Together with you, we had a very interesting conversation. I really, truly enjoyed it. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, your comments. I love it all. Everyone is entitled to their thoughts and comments and thinking processes. I really, really enjoy it. Angela says, it's supposed to be unconditional. I'm married 30 years. I've been through a lot, but always coming through strong. I love that. I love that. Is there another comment? No, I don't see any more. So the last one was from Angela. Okay, so there's one more. Hold on, I missed something. No, I read that one already. But Esty, yeah, I read that one. I love how my husband keeps track. You don't see him. He's behind the scenes. I love it. He's my partner in crime. I love it. Thank you so much for joining. And I will be reading your comments as well. If I don't answer, it doesn't mean that I'm ignoring you. It just gets overwhelming when I have so many different comments to go through. But I read every single comment. I enjoy it. Your feedback means a lot. And if you have a question that you want answered and you want me to give you my opinion, again, I don't know what it's worth, but I'm always here to share my opinions if I have an opinion at all, right? Some things I have no opinions and no thoughts at all. Write to me when I get a chance. I will definitely sit here and do what I'm doing tonight together with all of you, try to answer your questions. Thank you so much, Violet. You're amazing as well. I love you too. Thank you so much, Esty. You're so sweet. Thank you for being a good sport and giving me your comments. I know that sometimes it's nerve-wracking. You don't want people to judge you and people are watching you. No, you are strong. Thank you for being so brave and speaking up your thoughts. Thank you, Olga. I appreciate that. So look, people can judge us. People can think whatever way they want and say, how can she answer this way? Or how can she talk this way? We come out and we express ourselves. It takes courage, it takes bravery, and I applaud all of you that were able to do that together with me tonight. Have a great night, ladies.